With one foot in the world of catchy indie rock and the other in the French electro sound of the late 90s, Phoenix helped define the sound of an era. Over the last 20 years, they've evolved from an edgy act from Versailles to one of the most influential and popular French bands, touching audiences around the world. Guitarist Laurent Brancowitz and bassist Dec Darcy sat down with us to talk about their latest project, a book chronicling their journey as a band.
Hi, we are part of the band Phoenix, and we are here to talk about our new book, Liberté, Égalité, Phoenix. It's here on France 24.
Dec Darcy and Laurent Brancowitz, thank you so much for being with us here on France 24. Now, people around the world know Phoenix for your particular brand of pop rock. You've got 6 albums under your belt, and now you're releasing this book, a chronicle of your journey as a band. Why was it important for you to share your story?
We had an offer from Rizzoli, the publisher, and it was at the exact same moment when we thought we had to get rid of everything we had stocked in our storage, destroy all those memories and leave space in our brain. It was the perfect moment for us to do it. It was good to be in the past, but also in the future at the same time.
Enjoy the journey of Phoenix.
Liberté, Égalité, Phoenix is an oral history, starting as your beginners as teenagers in Versailles and up until today. It's an intimate celebration of your band, featuring some incredible photos, as you said, from your personal archives, and it was compiled by the British journalist Laura Snapes. What was the writing process like, Dick?
It was inspired by a book about the punk in the 70s in America, hip-hop and consort. It was a lot and lots of interviews. I spent a lot of time with her.
She kind of recreated like a huge conversation with the 4 of us, but also with a lot of people who worked on every album. So it's like a multi-angle perspective on our little story.
Your little story that's quite a big story as well. And so the book is actually dedicated to a musician, Philippe Zard, who helped you throughout your career. And in the book, you actually describe him as your brother when you dedicate the book to him. He passed away tragically in an accident this year. Why was it important for you to pay tribute to him with this book?
Yeah, he was in a bit of the 5th member. We made all of our albums he was involved in, so of course he had a strong weight on our artistic career. So.
He actually is in the book. His voice.
Yeah.
He has some great quotes, and also the best anecdote, because we spent a lot of time with him, and always fun times.
You're one of the rare French bands to have really struck a chord with an Anglo-Saxon audience in the US and the UK. Why do you think you have succeeded where others have failed, Dec? What do you think?
Yeah, it's obviously a tough question. We've been asked before, but it's really hard to explain. I don't know, probably some misunderstanding. Yeah, it's really highly possible. Specifically when it happened, we are really not fitting in the musical landscape or aesthetics of the time. So
I think we were never afraid to do things that were supposed to fail. Even the fact that people say it's impossible, it made it exciting for us.
Now, what's interesting is a lot of people have retrospectively likened you to the French touch.
Yeah.
Like Daft Punk or Air or Justice. Do you feel like you belong to the French touch? The so-called French touch?
French touch, it's a very generic word title, but it doesn't mean a lot. But it means that we were all people who are very independent in terms of producing our own music in our bedrooms, in our garage, creating our own channels of distribution. And so I think in this way there was a community of people who had the same approach.
Now, there's something that you have, well, that sets you apart, I guess, from many bands, and not just French bands, but bands around the world, is your lasting friendship, which has lasted for decades, and that's very rare. In fact, you talk about it in your book. At the very end of the book, you talk about how you're still friends after all this time. What is the secret to a lasting friendship?
Yeah, I think the only logical thing is that we share the money in four equally, which is actually very rare. You know, people don't do that in the music industry.
Yeah, it's like the person who wrote it will get more.
I don't know. We write everything together, which is pretty rare too. But in the end, we live, you know, the same life. There's not one guy whose ego or bank account is bigger than the other.
And the release of this book coincides with lots of anniversaries for your band. It's been 30 years since you formed the band as teenagers, 20 years since you released your first debut record, and then 10 years since your Grammy award-winning Best Alternative Album, Wolfgang Amadeus Phoenix. Would you say that you're older and wiser these days than when you first started out?
It depends on what we're talking about, but we are in the studio at the moment, and yeah, it feels like we didn't, in some many ways, we didn't really progress since we really started making our demos in the in the basement, because we are still struggling on crazy stuff. Like probably some people would solve in 2 seconds, but we're still like struggling, finding a way out in combining melodies or whatever.
Now, we have a quiz for you because this book takes stock of your career. Is there one song that sticks out for you guys? I mean, I know people always say it's like choosing your child.
We are lucky because I think the songs that had the most success are the songs that are our best songs. You know. Some artists, their life is based on a misunderstanding. And
So like Listomania,
yeah,
If I Ever Feel Better.
The song we still think they are decent. You know?
You can still listen to them today.
Yeah, we don't, but we could.
And I have just one last question. You were talking about how you're in the studio right now. When can fans expect a new album?
The condition of making a book was obviously to know we would have something to come up next, because this is not I don't want to feel it's like a hiatus or a pause or whatever.
The end of the...
No, well, actually, So
okay, so we just have to wait and be patient, but there is something coming soon.
The inspiration is still there, but the problem is to finish. You know, being inspired is easy. Usually, it's after when you have to. So we're entering this phase, which is a lot more painful.
Well, good luck with that phase, Laurent and Dec. Thank you so much for being
you.
with us on France 24.
Thank you.
Thank you.